Medical Laboratory Solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. And, well, what is it? The 1st of November, the 11th month of the year, as we count down, what looks to be another promising month. 1-800-534-TALK, 1-800-534-8255, 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp 925-3261. Share your thoughts with us. Give us your perspective. A lot is happening, and from the presentations to the conversations, to the conjecture, speculation, rumors, innuendo, the sense that people are feeling, worrying, and are certainly expressing themselves. But is it in a complete and responsible manner, or is it something we're doing in a vacuum? Well, let's check it out. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thank you for calling.
Hi, good afternoon. Just two things I'd like to call about today. I'm in a hurry because I have to go for an appointment.
Okay, well, that goes well.
The display that has been at the museum for quite some time, for several months, about Cayman Airways. Now, I had requested to the minister from over a year ago that we get that entire thing videoed and that they also show it on Cayman 23, the government channel, because there are a lot of people who would love to see that display. It's a beautiful display, and it'll be a shame if they take it down without getting it videoed to go on their government channel for other people to see. Also, sometime this year, I think it was in April or May, Jennifer Pedley, she had something at the Georgetown Public Library where and talked about where my grandfather and Uncle Rolla built the government buildings and built ships and stuff like that. And it was a gentleman there who was videoing it, and I was hoping that I would have seen it on the government channel by now, but up until now, I still have not seen it. So could you check on that and see if you can push someone to get those two things videoed to go on the government channel, please, because they keep showing the same things over and over from years ago, which some of them are nice and don't mind seeing them again, but some of these other things need to be on it as well.
Yeah, there's a lot of, as you referenced that, there's a lot of information that maybe we haven't quite taken the same level of urgency and appreciation as you're reminding us that we should. So hopefully this is something we can ask. But I'll pass it along and see what traction we gain. Okay.
Yes, please do, because we definitely need to get those two things on. Because the Cayman Airways display at the museum was done so wonderfully and beautifully. It would be a shame not to get that on the government channel TV.
Well, I know it won't fall on deaf ears, and as you're sharing it with me.
I hope not, but it fell on deaf ears from over a year ago when I requested it.
Yeah, well, sometimes the government bureaucracy moves as fast as molasses uphill in winter. Sometimes it's swift, So,
anyway, sorry, I have to rush now because I have to go for an appointment.
Yeah, you go, and I pray it goes well with you. Thank you so much, though.
Thanks. All right.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
All right, 949-8037. More calls in the queue. We got DJ Lynn answering the phone. Hey, imagine this guy multitask, man. You can hear him many times, the gifted DJ that he is. He says, publicly, at least I heard him say that he loves wearing the mask because that makes him more handsome and attractive. Right, DJ Lynn? Just tease. It's a day, So for some of us, we woke up to the rain. Others, we mellowed in it. For some, the rain is just a reminder of, the November winds, as it were. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-TALK, 1-800-534-8255. It's a toll-free call with the compliments of Flow. WhatsApp if you choose, 925-3261. Let us hear from you as we appreciate the opportunity that maybe in a discussion, having a chance to speak and listen to Mr. Loxley on Friday together with Andrew McLaughlin reminds us that, as they say, freedom comes at a significant cost. Like democracy is not free. Maybe as we appreciate it, we understand our responsibilities. It is incumbent upon us all to champion what we have, to protect, promote, preserve, and to ensure that it is enjoyed by all. Now, that same freedom sometimes to complain and to criticize should also, be used to do things that are more positive and productive, so that as we speak not just to complain, but we offer up some semblance of solution. So what are the solutions that are facing us, for which, we haven't found a problem just yet? As Mr. Ezra Miller used to say, one thing about the government of the day, as he saw it, they always had a way of, finding problems for the solutions that were there. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. Whether it's the rain or whether it's the heavy hearts that we are sort of handed on days like today, we've got to find a way to dig in, draw alongside each other, and not just press on and persevere, but be persistent with a positiveness so that we are indeed inclined to find the best in ourselves and the best in others. Now, the last caller's points that many times things happen in our society that some must see and appreciate and realize that, wow, this is really, wonderful. This is something that I didn't realize it was as good as this, or didn't know about, or forgotten about it. I wonder if it's going to be preserved for posterity. Is it going to be promoted, now and in a sufficiently, manner that gives people a chance to also see and be informed. And then a day, a year, a month, a decade will pass, and it has just fallen by the wayside. And perhaps this is where we talk about nation building and start to appreciate the importance of recording what we have and doing so accurately and in a manner that we can share now and forever. Think back to, again, even some of the comments Mr. Loxley has shared with us, over the years. What about proceedings from the Legislative Assembly back then, the vestrymen of the day? Do we have those in a way? And when they're edits, for whatever reason, that we're not editing in such a way that it somehow allows the listener 10 years or a century from now to not fully understand the context, to be able to read maybe transcripts, but also to hear where possible and even see in a modern era what exactly was transpiring. Not unlike when we hear passages of the scripture being read, even from a sermon. Do we have enough context? Maybe that one little bit taken from that verse. What about all of what goes before and what comes after? Taking sometimes things out of context can not only malign, but it can lead to misinterpretation. That misconstruction can cause people to be so misinformed that they may make some serious mistakes and missteps. Is that perhaps what has been happening to many? But again, your thoughts, and if you are certainly very, very concerned about what is happening globally as well as within our own shores, from the people who are worried about their financial future, their health, quite understandable. Now, you may not have any concerns. You may have a lot of good things to share, but either, whether it's the one or the other, we want to hear from you. So share your thoughts with us and be a part of it. It's going to be open line for the show today as we invite you to be a part of what's going on and unfolding around our country and the region and even across the globe. How much of what we see here and pay attention to is in fact taken on board and how much as we share with others, our closest confidence, to those perhaps we've only having a casual conversation. How much respect and responsibility is being relayed, and how much responsiveness is being to hand. Well, 949-8037, share your thoughts with us. Toll free 1-800-534-8255 or WhatsApp 925-3261. We'll pause shortly and take a quick break. Invite you to dial us up, share your thoughts with us, recognizing that as perhaps DJ Lynn shared when he was giving the traffic report, the roads are there because of the rain and might be a little bit slippery, not unlike some of the people that we engage in. We say, oh boy, he's a bit slippery, and not because he's about to engage in some chase the pig contest at some agriculture show or the other, but just because of the perception of the personality. So the roads are a little wet. Be absolutely mindful, cautious, very considerate, and ensure that you are safe. 949-8037, 1-800-534-TALK. And with that in mind, as we go into the break, that roundabout going up to the Governor's House, the water plant, the Governor's Square shopping, the Regatta office building, that one seemed to have been the spot of a lot of mishaps recently, and including the one to the south or the north, depending on how you look at it. They fixed it, what have they? Well, be absolutely mindful that roundabouts can camber a little bit and cause some to be a little bit less than attentive and perhaps result in some mishaps. So drive with care, caution, due attention and regard, be safe, be considerate. Let's pause though and join us after the break.
Are you planning a social, an office party, or event over the holiday season? Make the most of your holiday party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your holiday parties with Subway. Visit subway.ky for menu options. Subway, eat fresh.
Freedom, Cayman Brack. Freedom, Little Cayman. Soft breezes, blue waters, no traffic. Unwind and rejuvenate your mind, body, and soul. Sister Island Staycations, a taste of freedom. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vant Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new 2021 Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vant Motors, Walkers Road.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. It's Monday. Can you believe it? And not only for some of us, it's considered the first day of the week. It's certainly Monday, and it's the first of the month. Now, having some of our sort of younger school children, talk about how the calendar was organized, and first it was 10 months, and interesting that as young as they are, given the opportunity, being encouraged, they'll share an opinion. You'll understand how not just educated and intelligent they are, but how informed and how informative they can be. And just to paraphrase one of the young ladies, she said, if you look at how some of the guys would do things in life, meaning men specifically, you appreciate that it's all about ego. And to think of, originally you had 10 months and a year, and the naming fell according to, how they were numbered. And now we have 12. Well, it just shows how people can, in fact, do things as the British Prime Minister Churchill will talk about. History will be kind to him because he's going to write it. Well, maybe that's the challenge. We write things, but we don't necessarily record them accurately because we want to paint ourselves in a better light. Some would say there's nothing wrong with that. Even a misogynistic drunk wants to be looked at in a better way. Well, accountability and transparency we do. One of our listeners very kindly reminded us there's only 54 days left until Christmas. Imagine that, huh? Now, for some, that is with a great sense of expectation and joy that we're looking, for that. For others, it's probably a great sense of growing fear. Well, what will the health be like? Will there be sufficient money to engage in the festivities? Not that it's all about, gift giving, but would there be funds to buy gifts for the children, those special ones in our lives, to maybe be charitable with some of our funds, not just our time. And then, of course, the question is, what will our health be like? The health of our economy, the availability of foods and goods and the like, the ability for people to move freely about their communities. What will people's mindsets be relative to socializing? Even if they could, are they so conditioned that they may want? And even if they don't want to, they may choose unconsciously to remain distant from people. Now, our psychologists and psychiatrists and the like may have warned and cautioned about such an impact. Perhaps in decades hence, our sociologists may offer up, certain comments when they look back. But the vision isn't necessarily there. And looking back, maybe we need to be able to be forward thinking and consider what is going to happen, what potentially could be the consequence, especially the negative ones of our actions and our inactions. They say a lie isn't so much about the commission sometimes as it is about the omission. We lie by default. And is that what is transpiring in many instances? People are not, no longer probably worried about the consequences of blatant lies, but there are many who are so skilled, perhaps in the art of diplomacy, we're told, that they can share their thoughts in such a way that they say a lot and say nothing. But in hindsight, perhaps the coded message is there had we had the discerning ear to hear. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. As I look and smile with DJ Lynn, he reminds us of the importance of being honorable. Let's say humility before honor, my friend. Now, I offered him up some chocolate, and he said, nope, not even that can tempt him to engage in the banter. I promised him a reward. He said, not even that is sufficient. So to you, I'll ask, what would it take for you to voice your views? Well, there's the phone line, 949-8037. What would it take for you to share your thoughts? Well, sometimes, we don't just want you to appreciate that it's not without cost. So here's a toll-free line, 1-800-534-TALK, 1-800-534-8255. You may choose to record a voice note or just text to speech or even type it yourself or dictate to somebody what you want to say, and they can type it up for you. And WhatsApp, 925-3261. It's a Monday, and for many of us, we always look with bated breath, eager anticipation about what a Monday would unfold. If others, for whatever reason, Monday like vanilla seem to have been given a bad rap, unnecessary one. The flavor of vanilla in your cookies and baked goods is nice. If you're into ice cream, vanilla is good. Now, I have a penchant for dark chocolate with sea salt and certainly enjoy the flavor and the taste of it. But nothing wrong with a little vanilla now and again. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. And is that the challenge that we're facing, that we've assigned words and connotations to certain things that have, unfortunately, caused those things to be looked at in a less than positive way? Words are impactful, but not only the word itself, but the way it's said, the context, and even the tone of the person. Someone who is beckoning you to come, if it's with a smile and an open invitation, you'd be more inclined than if it's a menacing scowl. Now, they may say, come here, and in both instances, which one would you be more engaged and encouraged to go? Well, for some of us, it's probably the scowl. 8949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or WhatsApp 925-3261. So I attended a presentation earlier, and it's one of those things where I think sometimes we forget that we say, and despite saying it often, that children are our future. The young people are the leaders of tomorrow, and what are we doing now will affect them, and we have to be cautious and not to overdevelop or overpopulate or do this or that has a negative consequence. But do we actually take it to heart and do anything about it? And here was an opportunity, despite the sort of different time zones and the relative taxing schedule of some. There were a couple of young people who were on the sort of conference call, for want of a better way to phrase it. And one shared, her perspective is, you keep hearing in recent times more and more about political maturity, about perhaps reform, not just within the Cayman context, but in others. She gave a brief overview of her understanding of, the situation relative to Afghanistan. And she says, okay, that's closer to where she's studying now than it is to Cayman. And for many of us, it may not be of any of concern, but how many U.S. administrations, how many billions of dollars, and how many lives lost, and they're right back to where they were before it all started. So what was it for? What was the point? What is the reason? And have we understood the actual toll that it has taken, not just on the globe, but on that particular people, their country, their lands? And is it a case of people being insensitive and ill-informed and going in with a heavy hand without understanding what's transpiring? And she shared that it isn't, the intent for her to belabor that point, but just to use as a reference. When people who don't know sort of proceeding in a way that they're the be-all and end-all, that the consequence sometimes, whether it's ill-intended or not, is that people are left worse off. So she's asking, in the Cayman context, when we talk about independence, are we truly appreciative of the need to move forward as an independent thinking people with a sense of financial sobriety relative to what we're going to do, secure, sound, sensible financial approach relative to our expenses, our budgets and the like, as individuals, but also as governments, as a country that is going to be investing in its country, ensuring there's a education that is accessible to all, a healthcare system that does not discriminate because of your ability to pay or not to pay, maybe who you are or how you look. Things that are still very much part of the Western democracies, I think she may have strained to say as well. Now, we would expect, she said, that in history, as we read, that these were things because of the time. But have we really advanced? A younger student, a bit younger than she is, sort of opine that we are taking massive steps backwards, and that education and healthcare and the like, from the price of and availability of land to the access to employment, seems to be, and I'll insert this phrase, a case where it isn't to those who, sort of are deserving or have merit or the like, but it's all part of, something from how he put it, perhaps more sinister. Now, we talk about the young not being aware or not having a voice and not being allowed to exercise that voice. Well, as I listen to these two young, students, perhaps the problem isn't that they don't have a voice or not exercising it. It's a problem that we're not listening or wanting to hear what is it that concerns them. The young gentleman shared that, for him, having land now isn't the issue for two reasons. He's already been promised because, not his parents, his grandparents were smart enough to have acquired land and held on to it. But he admitted that they came from an era where that large swath of land was something that might have been, had they not had the vision to hold on to it. It didn't cost them to acquire it. Perhaps how they got it, it was in a different way. But, 2 and 3 generations down, there's still significant land. But if he wants land elsewhere, that's going to be a bit of a challenge. Now, he also shared that the way things are transpiring now, will there be a future in Cayman? Certainly the things that he considering pursuing for tertiary education may not provide meaningful employment. Now, that begs the question as we go to the break. Should our students, as they continue their studies beyond high school, just pick up and be educated in the areas that are useful to society, or should they be able to pursue their passions? A degree in philosophy may not be what it was in the days of Plato and Socrates, or even, in the 50s, the 1950s. But why should not people study the liberal arts? And if we are encouraging our students to study, are we encouraging them all of them, or only some of them? Well, maybe the discrimination isn't as overt and blatant, but maybe it is. Let me hear from you. Share your thoughts. It's a Monday, right? If we don't think and talk and act on a Monday, well, does Tuesday hold any promise? In 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Let's pause and take a break.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Savannah Pharmacy. Shop local and get a head start on your Christmas shopping. For ladies' handbags, clothes, shoes, fragrance, candles, and cosmetics with the newest Farmhouse Fresh line of skincare. For the gentlemen, clothes, shoes, fragrances, gift sets, and toys and games for the kids. Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs. And convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
Make your house into a home Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
As the community continues to take precautions from COVID-19, it is important to stay prepared for other disasters now that we're in the hurricane season. Here are some post-hurricane safety tips from the Department of Environmental Health. Cistern water designated for the purposes of drinking, cooking, and bathing must be disinfected before use after a hurricane. Simply leave the water for 1 minute after it begins to boil, or to disinfect with bleach, add 3 ounces of chlorine bleach to every 1,000 gallons of water. A residual bleach smell is an indicator that the water has been properly disinfected. For full guidance on post-hurricane safety tips, visit www.deh.gov.ky.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for sharing with us. 949-8037, 1-800-534-TALK, 1-800-534-8255. Here's something that I want to share with you that was shared with us by a good friend. She says, be reminded, this attributed to, that famous author, Unknown. So, eyes are useless when the mind is blind. Eyes are useless when the mind is blind. Well, to that I have to ask, some of us, when we look, are we seeing? Or some of us are just plain oblivious to what is around us. And the beauty, the majesty, the blessings that we have are easily taken for granted. If you were to just take a quiet Sunday afternoon drive out East End, for instance, you see a couple of things. You see a very peaceful, tranquil village. You see a people that are happy, from enjoying the fish fries to just being able to see and walk on the beach. And then you come on West Bay Road, all the condos, 50 to 1,000 feet high these days. Midday looks like midnight because no longer is the sun permeating through the trees, whether the weeping willow and the casuarinas, or whether it's the cocoa plum and the sea grape. They're all gone, replaced with, in many instances, some of the ugliest buildings that you're probably seeing. Now, that's progress and development. Is it prosperity? Well, perhaps it's profitable for many. But we better not be blaming them if we're not willing to accept accountability, because it's us. So your thoughts then. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, or 949-8037. Topic that perhaps for some of us has been heavily fatigued, for some not sufficiently, ventilated in a responsible civil manner. But we are in the midst of a situation globally that has caused much consternation, from growing numbers of politicians to scientists, physicians, researchers, and the like within the medical fraternity, asking questions. Some have said, how is it that what I say is somehow leading to me being maligned? Others are saying, well, you have to be more responsible. Well, the question is, would science advance if people didn't ask questions? If people didn't responsibly engage in the requisite research, and when things look and smell, taste, sound, and feel like something, perhaps that is exactly what it is. Well, 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. And from the Cayman context, are we driven by a growing sense of fear for our own health that we're asking the government to open? Have we come to a stage where there's no turning back? Are we, because, that financial pressure, we're questioning why are we, haven't opened, as it were? And even words like that, would we have thought that would have transpired in this, era in our human history, where people, otherwise healthy people, have been, relegated to confinement. And then when we look at where it's at, not to be facetious nor inflammatory, we're told, if we go back to some of the published accounts from seemingly at that point responsible, reputable institutions from the universities, and as reprinted in some of the more popular publications, well, 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and 2 years hence, we're being told, we got to learn to live with it. Well, if it has mutated into something more contagious, and we had to be confined and locked down, quarantined, to now, well, you got to learn to live with it. What has changed? Well, these are the questions that sometimes inclined minds delve into, and sometimes those are the same questions that cause people to be maligned, ostracized, castigated, and considered conspiracy theorists, only because they were willing to ask a question. No, it's not just a question, it's the way it's asked, and to whom it's asked, and the time it's asked, and the place it's asked. That is understandable. But the only stupid question is one that I believe is never asked, because it may, in fact, elicit a response that could be helpful, but at least if it's asked, well, at least, you can never say you never heard it. In 949-8037, 1-800-534. Let's go to our phones. Good afternoon, welcome, thanks for calling.
Yeah, sounds like you need a little call, Bo.
Bo, listen, man. I would throw out all kind of scent and not no catching one. How you doing?
I'm fine, man. I'm fine. Just enjoying the torrential rain, man.
Man, listen, I wish I was able to enjoy it even more. So I'm glad that you are.
Yes, man, out here, and I can't get into the store, but that's okay.
Yeah, man.
It'll stop.
Keep the money in your pocket a little bit longer.
Yes, that's right.
I appreciate it, man. I appreciate you taking the time out of the rain and listening and now calling and sharing a thought. What's on your mind, man? How do I ask you a question that's burning in your mind? But let me hear from you first.
Okay, it's me and you today, but mostly you. Is that okay?
I like the sound of that, man. Me and you, but mostly you.
Right. You're talking about thoughts, right? Thoughts. Well, let me know something.
Yeah.
Your mind is a thing that you have to control. If you don't have any control over your mind, over your thoughts, that's not a good position to be in. Okay?
Right.
Now, I'm sure you believe in the Bible.
I do indeed, yes.
The most powerful person, our Lord Jesus, Satan, tempted him when he was up in the mountains. Think about it, right? He tempted Jesus, if you would worship me, what he would do. Satan is controlling the minds of people. I am telling you, he is so powerful because people let him be. But instead of having negative thoughts in your mind, thinking about something negative, why not just think about some positive things, some good things that will enlighten your spirit to get on with life? But if you go according to what comes in your mind, all kind of evil thoughts, as a guy once said, if it wasn't for bad minds, some people wouldn't have no mind at all. Okay? We have to stop this thing and stop thinking so evil, because it only takes you down. When you enlighten and try to train your own mind about the things of God, there's so much good things to think about. You should not have time to think about evil things. You're passing your opinion on other people, and why not just pass your opinion on something good? Because any bad person, I'm sure, is something good about them. So, controlling your mind, my friend, that is so important in every aspect of your life. Think positive. Think real, not negative. It will only destroy you. You will hit other people, and there is no ending because it's a satanic move. Okay? A very satanic move. People get frustrated. The other kill somebody or they kill yourself. That all comes from the mind. Until you have mind control, my friend, you basically not in a pretty situation.
Fruits of the Spirit, huh? Yeah.
So I'll hear your point now. You can say a little bit. Sure.
No, man, I just said I'm the fruits of the Spirit, and that self-control, the ability to, let your mind, as you say, be that thing that is as much as possible positive in your thoughts and your endeavors. So a man think it, he does, right?
Yeah.
So I'm mindful of what you're sharing, and I'm glad that you reminded us of it, because I think too many people, we harbor these grudges and ill-conceived notions, and we act sometimes in malice, just in a very spiteful tone, believing that we will, I'm going to fix them, I'm going to show them. But in the end, that burden is just, perhaps weighing us down.
Yeah, it's so what shall I say, so real that some people that look at you, you can see it's not a pleasant look. So just smile with them or just look the other way and remember that it takes two to tango. What it says, a soft answer turned away wrath, but grievous words stir up anger.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of satanic moves that are moving all through the world, and people should be aware of these satanic things. Satan wants to get control, and once he controls your mind, that's what he always go for. From Adam and Eve, that's what he did, control the mind. Cain and Abel controlling the mind. The mind is what he works at. Once you control a person's mind, or once he controls your mind, it's doomsday if you're not careful.
Yeah, well, free your mind, the rest will follow, the song says, huh?
Yes, man.
You're right, man. All right.
Let's get off of that now and get back to reality. Well, we're having some good rains, and I'm sure all the plants, everything is smiling, and, it's difficult to see all the vegetation being demolished and all that, but
sad.
Yeah, pray about it and give God a chance. I'm sure that He is the most powerful thing that we can look forward to.
Yes, sir. And when those needs bears come in, you know where to find me.
That's right.
Thank you for the company, sir.
All right, take care now.
Blessings to you. You too. Enter the caller in the queue with the greatest of respect. Can we just ask of you? Hang on, let us take the news and join you right after.
Radio Cayman,
the voice,
the heart, the soul of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
Another COVID-themed message from the Premier today, following Friday's video reassuring the public about where we are and where we are headed.
COVID is directly impacting our lives, but we are not helpless in this fight. We have ammunition through vaccinations and proper hygiene practices.
The Honourable Wayne Panton once again stressed the importance of vaccinations for those who are able and reiterated government's plans to proceed with the reopening of the borders. He says Cayman is not headed toward a lockdown as we are in a very different place than we were when the pandemic first started. In international news, more than 5 million people are known to have died of COVID-19 worldwide, 19 months since the pandemic began, according to Johns Hopkins University. Vaccines have slowed the death rate, but some health experts say the true toll could be far higher. The milestone comes amid warnings from health officials that cases and deaths in some places are rising for the first time in months. Nearly 250 million cases of the virus have been recorded worldwide. People are feared to be trapped after a 21-story building collapsed in Lagos, Nigeria on Monday. The building is a construction site for luxury apartments. It is unclear how many people were in the building when it fell. And American Airlines has canceled another 250 flights on Monday, continuing a days-long chain reaction of cancellations that started last week. American says it canceled about 1,058 flights on Sunday. That was on top of the 548 flights it canceled on Saturday and 343 flights on Friday. Overall, about 10% of its mainline flights have been canceled over the 4-day period. The canceled flights have stranded tens of thousands of passengers. Those are your latest headlines here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us. It is open line here on this Monday edition of Talk Today as we go straight to the phones. Hey, thank you so much for your time and your patience. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dwayne. This is Bill Simamba. How are you?
Very well, you'll be surprised. You actually crossed my mind the other day, man. How are you doing?
Well, you have to cross my mind. In fact, more than cross my mind, because I listen to you every day,
Well, thank you for that, man. Much appreciated.
Well, we're living during COVID times. It is a challenging time. There are different views regarding the matter. Vaxxers, anti-vaxxers, and others in between who are just, carrying out more research to learn more. Mm-hmm. And I think it's very good, as you're saying, to keep the debate civil and respect each other and realize that, not one person has got the monopoly of wisdom. And I think the same thing applies to the same-sex marriage issue, mm-hmm. which continues to be debated, especially with good sister Katina Anglin, proceeding in a court of law. And I think that's very good. But what I want to talk about also, Dwayne, is something related to the judiciary. On the 28th of October this year, the constitutional relationship between the Cayman Islands and the UK has changed. And what I'm trying to do over the next few days is to make a few calls and work with people in Cayman, as well as a few people in other OTs, to try and make people appreciate why that is so. Some time back when I called you, I told you that I had sued a judge and we were waiting for the judgment. The judgment is now out. It's on the website. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And what it has done, Dwayne, is it has basically... before I say that, mm-hmm. I have appealed the case, and within this week it should be served. It was already filed. But let me give you a summary of the case in 30 seconds. Basically, I sued a judge. I alleged malice. Another judge heard it. And my argument before that judge was that Section 29 of the Grand Court Act says that a judge is not protected from civil suit if he acts maliciously. So the judge, basically what he had to do was to decide whether that is the proper reading of the statute, and then if he found that, yes, he is not protected if he acts maliciously, then it was for him to go to the next step to look at the evidence that I gave so that he could see whether, in fact, there was malice. But the decision which the judge has made is actually that in the Cayman Islands, despite that clear provision, he has decided that even if a judge acts maliciously, then he is still protected. In other words, he has done the exact opposite mm-hmm. what the statute says. So first of all, that's the first problem. Second problem now, that is the one which changes the constitutional relationship. He said that the reason why he was ignoring that statute
was because there's a case in England from 1975 which says that you can't sue a judge even if he acts maliciously. Now, my argument to him was simply, you can't apply UK case law where they don't have a statute which is similar to ours, and now then say that that case is going to overrule what the Parliament of the Cayman Islands has enacted together with the assent of the governor.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But the judge ruled against me and he said no. So basically what it means now is this, the implications of that are that from now on, if whenever the Parliament of the Cayman Islands passes a piece of legislation, it can always be overridden by a case from the UK. Now, some people might be confused about that, but let me explain. You will understand it, but just for some of the listeners.
Thanks.
You see, we use UK case law not to override our own legislation in the Cayman Islands. We use it to try and understand our legislation in the Cayman Islands. Okay? So, if, for example, like in this case, the provision says you are not protected as a judge if you are acting maliciously. And if we want to find out what malice means and the circumstances in which it has been held somebody is malicious, we could rely on UK case law to find out the meaning of malice. But we don't override the clear statute of the Cayman Islands because the two systems are different. This is what this judge has done. So in other words now, a UK case law is as good as an order in council. It can overrule anything that the Cayman Islands have done. Now, some people will say, well, first of all, this is a problem because it is now a pattern from the Grand Court of ignoring the legislature. You remember with the same-sex marriage bill?
Mm-hmm.
The Legislative Assembly then actually held a special session to say that the Chief Justice can't do that because it was so serious. Now, I'm here to tell you, Dwayne, and the listeners, that what this judge has done is even worse than what Justice Smelly did. And it is worse in this way. Chief Justice Smelly actually was interpreting a very vague provision of the constitutional order, which is Section 5. And that section says, well, once the Constitution is passed, in reading all laws, all the people who read the laws must make such adaptations as are necessary to bring those pieces of legislation in conformity with the Constitution. Now, what that means in plain English is this. If a law refers to the Executive Council, then after the new Constitution, you should read it as Cabinet.
Mm-hmm.
If an old law referred to a leader of government business, you should now refer to a Premier.
Right.
So it was for minor changes. But what the Chief Justice did, he said, no, I can do even more than that. I can actually amend the law. But he was adopting an interpretation which was far-fetched, but nevertheless wrong. But what this judge has done is not even that. He has just ignored the statute and said, no, from now on, we will do what the case law is doing in England. So I believe I've reached out to members of the Legislative Assembly. A lot of my Caymanian friends have prepared a write-up, which I think I've sent to you and to OC, to explain a lot of these things, because essentially now what it means is that whenever you elect your representative, he is subject to the whims and fancies of a judge in the UK. And the problem here also is this. The Attorney General went to court to argue for this position. He went to court to argue that the law in the Cayman Islands must be ignored in favor of case law in the UK. Okay? How can that be? To me, that's disloyalty on his part, to be quite frank with you. And then it means now that even the governor, when he assents to a law, he can never be sure. He can be overruled by a court case in the UK. So let me end here. You've given me quite a bit of time. But I am out on a campaign. Anybody who wants to get a copy of my write-up, you can call me. My Cayman number is 928 2644 928 2644. I can only be reached on that number on WhatsApp. Okay, and then we can put you within the circle of people we are working with to try and see if we can change this situation. By the way, let me just pause on this. Let me pause on this because it's very, very important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, under the Constitution, Section 23, it says that, okay, let me back up by saying this. What this judge has done, he would not even have been entitled to do this if the provision had been unconstitutional. Now, the issue of constitutionality did not arise, but even if this provision had been unconstitutional, he was not going to be entitled to do that, because under Section 23 of the Constitution, it says that if a court finds that any provision is unconstitutional, then it just makes a declaration of incompatibility. Exactly. But it still applies it. So in this particular case, let us imagine that it had been unconstitutional. The judge should have still said, okay, it's incompatible with the Constitution, but I'll allow the suit to go on because I'm still supposed to apply the law, and then leave it to the legislature at a later time if they want to change it. So what he has done is even worse than that, and so we're trying to see if we can fight that. I should end there, Dwayne, but I'll call you again regarding this because there are so many other aspects, but I should end there today. The constitutional relationship of the Cayman Islands changed on the 28th of October because now the Legislative Assembly is subject to the whims and fancies of a UK judge. I thank you, Dwayne. Thanks very, very much, and thanks to your listening public who have tolerated me last few minutes.
Thank you for sharing too, and we'll talk again very soon. Let's take the next call. Welcome, good afternoon, thank you for calling. Hey, what's happening, man?
All right, sir.
Oh, you been well?
Yeah, man.
All right.
First of all, thank you to that caller there. I always try to listen to when he calls. I want to always hear the updates on.
Exactly, man. Exactly.
Yeah.
So interesting.
Yeah, because what he's talking about is a upper level of the things I have been through and seen in my days of court and dealing with the laws and all that. You know, when I start to question or start to ask them certain things, I get reprimanded for. So once you do that, that means there's no declaration of a constitution. You understand? No presumption that constitution is upheld once you cut off the freedom of speech or you can't give me a proper answer other than it's just law or that's just the way it goes. Then first of all, back to why I was calling today, I want to make sure we get those people that in the prison, we give them some acknowledge, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, because they're up in there with COVID or with, going through all the kind of things. And somehow the resources is limited. No spray, no hand sanitizer, no nothing like that. And to the people up there for like one little split for ganja or just having anything to do with ganja or cannabis or anything like that, they really shouldn't be up in there because first of all, it wasn't harming nobody. Second of all, it was their own choice or their own decision to put ganja in their body, you understand? Or have it on them or grow it with them. That's theirs, you understand? And I don't know who has the right over another person's body. I wonder who has that.
Yep.
Who other than me has the right over my body? I don't believe so. So if you're telling me I can't put something natural in my body, but you want to put something else that I don't know where in the world it comes from, I really have to protest or say, I have to question.
But, as I listen to you, looking quickly at someone was sending, and like the courts and like so much, is it that, looking at what this person wrote, is it the elite mentality? The elitist, should put it a little further away from me. Is it the elitist mentality of some that is trying to dictate to the rest of us? There's some other things there, but I'll leave that for now. But is that what is happening?
Yeah, yeah, of course. It's only, they say it's only 106 real Caymanians left on the island, and they all of them up north, right? Right? So think about it now. If you got rid of all the indigenous Caymanians on one island, right? what you would really be looking at, you wouldn't have an island of Caymanians, you would have an island of what? Nobody.
Yeah. I remember hearing someone just in casual conversation share that it takes 3 or 4 generations for people to actually really feel a part of the adopted land. Or maybe it was 2 or 3, but I thought it was 3 or 4. With that in mind, and the pace at which we're growing, the physical development, the increased population, the time in which this is all happening, I wonder if we are consciously aware or even considering what our society could look like, not just 2 or 3 generations from now, but 2 or 3 years from now. Yeah, another election is coming up. Will it be, what is it the media adopted the term, a snap election? Will our parliamentarians decide that thing that they thought was, and they lambasted many of us who said it wasn't? We all labor under this view that our elections were fixed. It would always transpire at this time, that it wasn't possible to have an early election like they do in the UK and other jurisdictions, to follow this, ill-fated Westminster model, for the former territories. Do we now need to put in place legislation? I mean, Sir Geoffrey Jowell, when he was, commissioned to do the Constitution, publicly, and I think with some great resolve and to great pains, made it very clear that the intent wasn't for the courts, like they can in the US, to change the Constitution. And I guess that's where this Declaration of Incompatibility in the Section 23 was that is found. But yet we seem to ignore it. Again, back to this comment of this person, is it this small group of elitists? I wonder.
I wonder too. What you can't deny that not happening when you talk about the fixed elections. When you talk about it's so many youth that are so quick to have a police record.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a police record, it's not harder for you to register to vote.
This is the thing, right? I mean, I have a view about what prison is and should be, right? And some may say, well, you're liberal, but to take somebody and incarcerate them, whether it's this thing that we call in quarantine now, I borrowed a term from a lady who's liking it to house arrest, but she says it's worse than prison because the prisoners have a right to at least go in the yard and exercise for a period of time. If you don't have a space that you can be afforded to do that, and you try to leave that confined room, you're going to be subjected to significant sanctions, right? If you breach quarantine. So maybe when we look at prison, we need to not just try to rehabilitate and reform the offender, try to reduce the recidivism and offer up an element of punishment where necessary. But are you in jail for a spliff, but you can do some serious harm to other people, including financial harm, and walk away?
Yeah, but let's not only rehabilitate the prisoners, let's rehabilitate society.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody have this that, I don't like seeing them sitting down on the beach smoking their days away while I'm working. He gets jealous of that, Let's see if we can take that bad mind, like what other callers say. Let's see if we can try to get that out of their head. Like, I got to go, somehow I'm going to drift that. I'm going to just through, so your kids or whoever see me or see whatever, I'm contaminating you like a virus.
Yeah. But isn't it interesting that even in the Cayman context, and I'm hopeful that through our discussion now that people would see the need for us to come together and unite as a country, as one people, right? Let our differences cement us, not divide us. But is it interesting that you'll see some people see and engage in the smoking of, the ganja, the spliff, the whatever it's called, in whatever circle, and be okay with it. They'll excuse it because, that's what they do. But they will take the young Caymanian male and lock him away for the longest of times and turn a blind eye to others, whether they're from Canada or from Jamaica or from wherever. Interesting, huh?
Yeah, it's interesting. Maybe the prison doesn't have any room for Canadians, or it is not equipped for Canadians or any other nationality. Maybe it's just made just specifically for Caymanians, because you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, the question has to be asked. I mean, are we going to spend another $100 million on a prison when maybe we could put a fraction of that into education, prevention, and healthcare, and the like? It's some serious societal questions that haven't been asked nor addressed.
You have to check it in society, right?
Mm-hmm.
These people say they got something wrong with their stomach, they got some big problem. They can't go to the hospital and get it done. They're gonna go commit a crime to go to the prison to try get the help.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of society you really think that is? You know what they're gonna say? Oh, that their fault.
Mm-hmm.
Not true. That their fault. It's not their fault that every time they seen a boat or they seen somebody with some ganja or anything, they make sure and call the police and get this awareness like, oh, this big dumpy man holding a couple of parcels of ganja is going to infect all of us and have us jumping around like Africans and shaking our booties like in being happy and smiling. They don't want to see that. I believe it's something when they talk about, please don't try to puncture this little boat that we on, this little life raft or they on. I believe so. You know what? You should really take that life raft and just go adrift. You can set your off south sound right here, and you're going right out from the Gulf. You can buck right up in Nicaragua or Honduras or anywhere you won't go if you can't stand seeing this anymore, because it's really a disaster. It's really a disaster because you can't even defend yourself in voting, and you're not even able to register a gun. You're not even to do all those kind of things to say you're going to defend yourself and protect your land and all that.
Well, it certainly is. So, I think we need to make sure that we look at very carefully and put in place, a mindset so that we look at each other with a greater sense of respect. I know we've got a break to take, but any quick final thoughts you want to share with us?
No, sir. Thank you very much for every time you're on radio and every time the Cayman Radio is up here, allowing people to express themselves no matter what. Thank you very much.
No, you're most welcome, man. Thanks for listening, and maybe sometimes through the comments, it's more to encourage and inspire discussion, not to inflame or incite. But a little bit times it's good to be insightful. All right, let's pause and take that break. When you come back, we invite you to join and share your thoughts. Stay tuned.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Captain Charles Leonard Kirkconnell, OBE 1922 to 2010. Captain Charles Kirkconnell has donated land on all 3 islands for projects close to his heart. In Cayman Brac, he donated the land on which now stand Faith Hospital, the Dental Clinic, and Kirkconnell Community Care Centre. The Booby Pond Reserve on Little Cayman began with his gift of a small strip of land along the pond, and in 2001 to 2002, he donated the land for a new church in Blossom Village. Bethel Baptist Church on Walkers Road, Georgetown, is built on land given to the church by Captain Charles and his brother. He represented the Sister Islands in the Legislative Assembly for almost 13 years, 8 of which he served on Executive Council, holding the portfolio of communications, works, and district administration. During his tenure, the road across the bluff was completed. The Aston Ruddy Civic Center was built. The Cayman Brac Airport runway was lengthened to 6,000 feet, and a new terminal and fire station were built. New docks were built on both Sister Islands, and a new Port Authority building was undertaken. Captain Charles and his wife Carol Jean Nee McIntosh have 5 children. Captain Charles Leonard Kirkconnell.
Radio Cayman is pleased to feature this special Sister Islands historical vignette, brought to you by the Ministry of Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your Sister Islands.
Wouldn't it have been grand if you had purchased land 30 years ago? It may not be 2020, but a perfect vision has never been more clear. Cayman Brac and Little Cayman, poised for growth with an eye on the future. Your land, your history, your future. Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
The Department of Environmental Health would like to advise West Bay residents to get their bulk waste ready for collection from November 1st to the 6th. Household appliances, furniture and other items too large to be handled by the weekly DEH collection crews should be placed by the roadside where it is easily accessible to DEH collection crews. Metals and vegetation should also be separated from other bulk items. Do not obstruct the roadway or storm drains, or place tires, construction and demolition waste, hazardous materials or electronics. For more information on the West Bay bulk waste collection from November 1st to the 6th, please contact DEH's Solid Waste Management Section at 949-6696.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. Hey, thanks to our callers for holding on as we go straight to the phones. Welcome. Good afternoon. Oh, there we go. 949-837 1-800-534-8255. Let's hear from you. Share your thoughts with us and what's on your mind. A couple of quick calls just off the air in relation to the whole unfolding situation. People now employing self-tests, the so-called, lateral flow tests and the like. And of the couple of messages, but the two quick phone calls, just quickly, both apologize, say, don't want to go on air. In one instance, the other saying, don't think I had enough time to really chat, so let's maybe quickly tell you what I was thinking. Both saying fairly much the same thing. One, growing fear within the community. Two, the question of how do we get back to work, get back to some semblance of order. Both of the view that probably will never be normal again. Not the normal that we knew it to be, but then maybe normal is overrated. I want to sort of jest. Both saying that as people get tested, now they go to work while they're waiting the results. If it comes back positive, they go home. The people are quarantining. A vicious cycle over and over and over and over. Now, one of the other two said, people in the office in the past, long before this ever happened, they would get sick, a flu, a cold, what have you. They'd come to work. People would avoid them. Wasn't no big panic. Some would come to work because for them, they wanted to show how invaluable they were, how dedicated and diligent they were in relation to their organization. For some, they were just outright afraid that if they didn't come to work, they'll be out of a job. They'll be looked at and passed over for promotions and the like. So the mindset, mentality is, what are we doing in a society? There was probably many who probably had the view that trying to study from home or work from home couldn't work. Partly because the nature of their jobs, partly because their mindset of, as well as their managers, probably their clientele, but also the technology, they weren't equipped. But we saw how easily, quickly, efficiently, and almost effortlessly, but with some considerable expense, that men in the private sector, the financial services sector in particular, was able to very easily transition its workforce to an online platform and to work remotely from home, and to do so in a way that was seamless. Their clientele didn't even know whether they were sitting on the beach or under a coconut tree, rocking in a hammock, or whether they have had a nice, well-appointed home office. Some probably thought that they were still working, from their main offices. Now the question is that something that we should be considering? Would it increase productivity? Take about, for instance, that commute that a person is now having, whether it's they're living just a few minutes from their offices, or whether they're like many, living and traveling hours, going and coming from work each day, could be reduced to minutes or a few seconds. They don't have to worry too much about the distractions. Now, for some of us, the discipline that requires, we just don't possess it. We haven't been trained just yet. But for others, once we get the hang of it, we will not only work more efficiently and effectively, but we'll perhaps find that we enjoy that work more. We also have to recognize too that there are those, because of the people they work with, the people they report to, including clients, they feel that they have to work longer hours, be, quote unquote, present, because they've been made to feel that if they're not at work, they're not working. We know many people that between 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. they do very little. So between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. They have to stay there for different reasons. Then there are some who will get the job done in a fraction of the time at certain times of the day, and as long as it's done, it's done. It doesn't matter when it's done. Once it's done on time, doesn't matter, as long as it's done to that high standard that is expected. The clients are served, customers, are satisfied. But for some of us, it's more about being seen than it is about what is actually being served. Well, questions to ask: what are we doing now in order to ensure that we're keeping everybody safe as possible in every interaction, keeping their mental sort of faculties sharpened? All right, let's pause and take that break. When we come back, let's continue that discussion. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
We may be in Christmas shopping mode, but 'tis the flu season too. Savannah Pharmacy has immune system boosters for the entire family with a range of vitamins and supplements. Their knowledgeable and courteous pharmacists are always available to offer the best advice and products. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
At Subway, we caramel a lot about our customers, so we decided to give you 2 treats in one with the new Caramel Apple Cookie. Enjoy cinnamon apples, caramel bits, and salted caramel crunch baked in, and topped with a drizzle of caramel-flavored icing. Gooey, crunchy, and yummy. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious Caramel Apple Cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert, available for limited time at all Subway locations. Subway, eat fresh.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
You can now register to receive a securely verified digital copy of your COVID-19 vaccination status with QR code through the MyHSA patient portal. Sign up is available at all HSA locations and at various sites throughout the community. To register, all you need is your photo ID showing date of birth and a valid email address. Visit hsa.ky and click My HSA Patient Portal for the sign-up schedule and more information.
the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. We are a non-for-profit member-centric plan with a democratically elected volunteer board of trustees representing all sectors of the Cayman Islands economy. Chamber Pension has an all-in expense ratio of 0.72% over 16,000 members, $430 million in assets under management. We were the first multi-employer pension plan approved by the regulator in the late 1990s, and today we are still strong, secure, and are here for employees and employers alike. If you would like to join or request further information, visit chamberpension.ky, and for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you.
Registration is now open for the 6th annual Meals on Wheels 5K Turkey Trot Fundraising Run Walk. Come trot with us on Saturday, November 20th at Grand Ole House, South Church Street. There are great raffle prizes to be won, finisher medals, trophies, and complimentary continental breakfast to enjoy. Join our event sponsors, Davenport Development, McAlpine, and Radio Cayman as they support Meals on Wheels in the fight to end senior hunger in the Cayman Islands. Register today online at www.mealsonwheels.ky or call 769-1974 for details on volunteering for this event. See you at the starting line.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back. And thank you so much for joining us. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255. Or WhatsApp 925-3261. Hey, let's chat about anything you wish. And let's maybe, speak to that obviously pink, fluffy, multicolored elephant that is always in the room. Like Elmer. We don't need to crush the grapes and have him turn grayish purple like the rest of them. Let's celebrate. In that bold, beautiful quilt patchwork that is Elmer. We tend to ignore the elephant in the room sometimes, and we even camouflage it, but let's celebrate what's the obvious. Now, may not be possible in this instance to have all the answers, but it's recognized that our government, the ones that we have elected, would probably be the first to tell you that they don't necessarily have the blueprint on the intelligence, that they don't have all the answers. No, I think should we expect that they do? Or we certainly have confidence in their competence. We certainly have confidence that they're committed to doing whatever is in the best interest of the country. That's the one honorable thing that I think that we have in common, is that we all want the very best for this place. Now, maybe we have adopted the wrong process. Maybe for some of us we haven't instilled sufficient discipline, but we can talk about that if we are able to do so civilly. Let's revisit that in a second, but let's go to this caller first. Good afternoon, welcome, thank you for calling.
Good afternoon to you, Sterling Green.
And to you, sir. How are you today?
Just fine. Nice.
Beautiful day, isn't it?
Weather, yeah.
Yes, sir.
For
yes.
farming and yes, well, we need the rain. We have no rivers, no lakes.
Yeah.
We need that.
True.
A lot of good talk here so far. Betty gave us some information there that's useful.
Right.
Quite useful, but remember something I've always said, that we must remember we're a crown colony, crown territory.
A British possession.
Read our passports, what it says. What it says. This passport is the property of the crown, remains the property of the crown at all times. At all times. That's what it says. Doesn't say a country, a government. It says the crown. A passport is your best means of identification, because your birth certificate does not have a picture on it, a photograph. All passports do. Tells you who you're a citizen of, and it tells you that the country is providing their coverage of you and their the sanguinity that they will acknowledge you and help you in all situations possible. So that's the best means of showing who you are, what is your country, and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So it therefore tells us just what we are.
Mm-hmm.
We have said that this is what we want. We never did it by referendum or anything.
Right.
And we have agreed that that's the best way forward some years ago. But it's the best time for us to move forward with the both parties, 1962 and so running for full internal self-government. But we didn't do that. We ended up with this. Because of different political persuasions and so forth, we know it's a major part of our history. But that's where we are, and that's when we were a majority. As someone was talking about indigenous generational Caymanians, that's the crux of the matter. At that time, we were the majority. We no longer are so. We're one of the very few countries, especially in the Caribbean, that is not so. Minority. So that makes a big difference. Enough said about that. You're talking about the inequity possibly in the justice system and so forth, but with the prisoners in Northwood and so forth. First of all, yes, we've got to realize that they are there by choice. If you want to put it that way. Yes, we have certain laws have been modified and many things have been changed, and we'll find that putting someone there, I've always maintained that it would be best. People are non-violent, completely non-violent, with crimes that are, they can repay the society quite easily. They can do community service, and that would relieve a lot of the pressure and expense on the prisons, and I don't see where we need to spend all that money at all, and just leave it for mainly the violent prisoners. There are people who we know will not be able to rehabilitate, and that this, because I remember several years ago speaking to a psychiatrist when I was living in Miami. I used to detail the cars for them, and it's something that always interested me and interests a lot of people. And I would have thought his answer would have been different. He's a man that you would do expert witness for government a lot, and for the private citizen also when arrested for murder. And I was really surprised what he said. I asked him, what do you think of these people who have been convicted of murder? Should we try to rehabilitate? Should we try to do? He said, let me tell you something, Steve. Lock them up and throw away the keys. That one blew my mind when he said that. He said most, 70% of murders are committed by recidivists. So that's your choice in life, mostly. That was his answer to me. And I thought about that many times over the years. That's a good 40 years ago, easily, or close to it, anyhow. Very close to that, 38, 39 years ago. And this is where we're at. That's why I suggest that only the very violent and so forth should be there, and you should pay for your debt to society and realize that's what has happened. Now you're there, it's not our fault. But then we could tone it down to just, that cadre of people in there, if you like. The other day you're talking about diplomacy and so forth, and with instead of and it works sometimes, but diplomacy didn't work at all in what would turn out to be the greatest war in history in terms of lives, in terms of money, in terms of everything, and change the world forever. The Second World War. By diplomacy, Neville Chamberlain made a serious mistake with Adolf Hitler. And we ended up, of course, being allies with a person just as evil as him. He was a Stalin and so forth. But we got from that total victory. And I believe in that diplomacy with negotiations. Because I remember President Reagan saying you can't negotiate with terrorists. And he's absolutely right with that one. We've proven that over the years. By a weak Europe, you can see a weak Eastern world here. No results to really tackle the problem. And America not willing anymore to just jump in there and defend and take care of it for them, as they did with the Second World War. Only Great Britain are really standing there with them and Canada and Australia. Well, we have to understand, and many people from the West Indies also bravery, but that was a minor part to play. But we have to understand that it's a very different world now. Very different world where the terrorists are looking on. All focus is on climate change and so forth and so on, and meetings of that. While they're stacking up their weapons, well, they're getting their forces together and moving them into refugees, coming into Europe, coming into the United States and infiltrating and so forth. And I think we are going to be losing out on not focusing on that also. But many times it is war first and then diplomacy, because you have to negotiate from a position of strength. And that's what created a world that is much more peaceful and much more acceptable to us now, whether you want to believe it or not. You can't negotiate with equals. You don't need to. Only to warn them that if they cross the line, hello?
Yes, sir.
You will have suffer consequences.
Right,
That's the only way you negotiate with an equal. But from the vanquished to the conqueror, where there are negotiations made, that you realize you will have to toe the line in the future and walk along those pathways that are more acceptable to democracy. And it is difficult for some people to say, well, I have to change, but you will have to change your country's way of thinking to be accepted. And that's the way I look at it. We have to say to the many factions in the world that you're not going to do what you want to do. We won't allow you to do it, which means you'll have to be forced to accept. And therefore it means countries will have to equip themselves to be willing to face that fact that we will have to face the thought that there may come a time when we will have to stand up and say, we can't allow this anymore. It might start out with a little thing, but it can end up with a big thing. But let us right now try to trust and not to be so negative and not to be so thinking that the government is doing wrong with this and this. We're moving along steadily, and we have what we know is the best way forward. Get as much people as we can, as many people, be grammatically correct, as possible, or many persons to be better correct, than and move forward with that vaccination, and then we can say we can safely reopen and we can safely deal, because this will be with us. We have to accept and acknowledge that fact, and we can deal with it. The vast majority of people will not even feel any sickness. That is a reality, and we have to come to grips with that. I've gone on long enough. Let me give someone else a chance. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir, very much for sharing. Enjoy your afternoon, right, and the rain as well. And with that, let me follow the directions and take this next break and invite you to call. So stay tuned for Talk Today.
Savannah Pharmacy. Shop local and get a head start on your Christmas shopping. For ladies' handbags, clothes, shoes, fragrance, candles, and cosmetics with the newest Farmhouse Fresh line of skincare. For the gentlemen, clothes, shoes, fragrances, gift sets, and toys and games for the kids. Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs. And convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
Had a look at those investment options yet? Too busy. Look at today. Workout, breakfast, take the kids to school, back-to-back meetings, take Pepper to the vet, and she's apparently got allergies now, so... And that was all before 12. But you look relaxed. That's because my money's as busy as you.
With RF, you can access the best in local and international investments to keep your money busy, so you can spend more time focusing on you. Contact us at rfgroup.com to find out more. RF, money at work.
20 years.
Remember when Crew Road had no median and Linford Pearson was only 2 lanes?
We do.
When Dirty Reeds was down the street?
We do.
We have been there for the falls, the growth, and the rise. When your body and mind needed to change, Powerhouse Gym has been here. We've skated with you. Your first date, your daughter's first time on skates, your son's first strike. From football to squash, to karate and hockey, to bowling and concerts, and everything in between.
For 20 years.
So much has changed, some for the good and some not so much. Through it all, King Sports Center has been here for you, for Cayman.
King Sports Center, celebrating 20 years as Cayman's home for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Do you want to serve your community? How about learning new and exciting skills? The Cayman Islands Regiment is now accepting applications for volunteers. Caymanian and permanent resident applicants should be between 18 and 50 with a clean police record. No military experience is required. Apply online at www.gov.ky/CI Regiment. Applications close on November 15th, 2021.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thank you for joining us. 949-8037, 949-8037. Toll free if you want to use that line with the kind compliments of Flo. 1-800-534-8255. 1-800-534-8255. Or you can WhatsApp 925-3261 and share your thoughts. Now, to the caller's points, and to the caller just before the break, we're getting to a space and a place where, like so much of what is happening, are we looking at political independence? Are we pressing on with a sense of economic and financial, maturity to ensure that we are good stewards of our resources so that future generations inherit, if not a better land, at least one that isn't any worse? But is it like, the concerns of so many? With that, let's read the sentiment from one of our listeners, who says, good afternoon. As we talk about development, this so-called development, the model that we're seeing here is the world's standard of which is colonialism, where these so-called developers displace indigenous communities and rape and pillage the people in their land. And now we're reaping what we had sowed, with the implications of global warming. So the sentiments then, as expressed by some, where are we? What are we doing? How are we doing it? And for whom? And probably some would say to whom as well. Are we doing it? Are we involved? Are we inclined? Are we engaged? Are we sufficiently respectful and responsible with all that we are trying? And as we move forward, are we looking at what is going to be the consequence of our actions? What about if we ignore certain things? What is the cost and consequence of pretending something isn't an issue? And as we engage in it, sometimes the comments here are meant to encourage and inspire people to think and to ask questions and to engage, to promote a sense of dialogue. Take for instance, we very appreciative that when it comes to diplomacy, the British probably are the very, very best. They understand through history. They're patient and play the long game, and irrespective of which political party is at the helm, their purpose is still the same. We're looking out for a mother country. And maybe that sense of unity, that sense of commitment and loyalty, maybe more of us need to take on board that same sentiment. Now, we're seeing that many, again, look at Europe, the UK's exit from the EU, Scotland's, flirtation with independence, or we are probably for some much more intimately familiar with history or with things that are transpiring because it affects us. But if we were to look at the Cayman context and appreciate that we were encouraged, some would say pressured, to put forward a constitution, go back to the 90s and just even prior. Smith and Wallace were constitutional commissioners. There were endeavors prior to that. We made incremental changes, but like so many, there were those who suggested that the changes were in name only, and people were more inclined to take on the title of ministers in cabinet and the like, as opposed to the true level of accountability and responsibility that came with constitutional advancement. Maybe as a people, in particular voters, we didn't want any great power vested in those we elected. Is that because we don't trust them? Because we're begrudgeful and don't want to see people advance and elevated to their true potential? Or are we like many, who have alleged that we've been beaten and battered and bruised by the centuries of being indoctrinated, castigated and chastised, that we no longer have that semblance of independence of thought? Maybe we just don't have that level of courage and perhaps for some confidence in ourselves to move forward, thinking that it's always best if it comes from outside. If we follow that thing that which has been done over there, wherever that is, it must be better, without appreciating that it's, think of a recipe, the recipe will work, but they say adjust for higher altitudes. If you're putting it in a glass or a metal coated pan, you may have to adjust your temperature and your bake time. Little things that have to come into play, even if it's the same recipe being done in the same place, but you have a new oven. Do you not want to consider that it's the first time you're using that oven, you're not quite sure how quickly it heats, how it retains its heat? Don't want to just set it in the oven and walk away. Not just because it's probably unsafe, but because you want it to come out perfect. Well, like much. We don't pay attention and we don't put plans in place to ensure that we are moving forward in a positive, most productive way. What do they say? Dog eat your supper. Well, let's pause and take that break, huh? Who's going to call? Well, it might be you. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
You are listening to Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
The Department of Vehicle and Drivers Licensing, DVDL, closes its Crew Road location today for deep cleaning due to a COVID-19 case. The Breakers and West Bay locations will open for business as usual, Tuesdays to Fridays, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m., and Saturdays, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Members of the public will be advised when the Crew Road location will reopen. In the meantime, you are reminded that you can renew your vehicle and driver's license online via the website www.dvdl.gov.ky. Turning to international news now, 2 people were killed and at least another dozen injured as shots rang out at a house party in Illinois, Chicago, where people were gathering for Halloween. It was one of at least 11 mass shootings in the U.S. over the holiday weekend, including several at places where crowds had assembled. The violence left at least 12 people dead and another 52 injured, that according to CNN reporting and an analysis of data from Gun Violence Archive and local news and police reports. World leaders turned up the heat and resorted to end-of-the-world rhetoric on Monday in an attempt to bring new urgency to sputtering international climate negotiations. The metaphors were dramatic and mixed at the start of the talks, known as COP26. For British Prime Minister Boris Johnson, global warming was a, quote, doomsday device strapped to humanity. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres told his colleagues that people are digging our own graves, and Barbados Prime Minister Mia Mottley, speaking for vulnerable island nations, adding moral thunder, warning leaders not to allow the path of greed and selfishness to sow the seeds of our common destruction. And Americans' opinions on the U.S. economy have soured noticeably in the past month, a new poll finds, with nearly half expecting economic conditions to worsen in the next year. Just 35% of Americans now call the national economy good, while 65% call it poor. That according to a poll by the Associated Press, Nork Center for Public Affairs Research. Those are your latest headlines here on Radio Cayman. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255. Let your voice be heard. And now, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. It's Monday. Can you believe it? November the 1st. Good day for some because it's the sort of the start of the week, start of the month. And for others, oh man, they say, no, not another Monday again. Another month again. But it'll get better. Well, it does, Let's have a sense of positivity. Let's have a sense of hopeful expectation. And let's work together as we were listening to the headline news, and certainly anyone and everyone, I believe is of the same mindset. We want us all to be safe and to be healthy in every endeavor, in every which way possible, because we don't want anybody to be otherwise. Now, the questions I think we ask sometimes is, what is it that is happening? How do we move about it? And, it is for a few people, the whole idea that what they do and what they say has little no consequence because, well, it's not really affecting anybody. And for others, they hang on to every word because they understand words have significant connotations. They carry a great impact. Now, as we were listening to the headline news just then, and we see, a government office, being affected, we know that organizations in the private sector likewise being affected. Give us an example, a fellow on a construction site, maybe one person tests positive in an organization, and that has a knock-on effect for all others in that organization. That goes into those respective homes, and those people have connections to other people, and then you see potentially many organizations being impacted by it, not just that individual or that small grouping. Now, back to being safe and sensible, and certainly having everyone not just safe but healthy. If we were looking at the practices of some employees and some employers, the ethos in some organizations, a person had a cold, and they would be expected to, stay away until they're better. They come to the office sometimes and they avoid others, and they take precautions. Now, no one is suggesting that this is as bad as a cold or that it isn't worse, not in any which way. We know that for some, even if they don't know it, they unfortunately may find out when it's too late that they have some underlying health condition and a cold. And certainly don't let that be dismissive as you hear it, because it's not intended to be such, has affected them in a very negative way. But now we're being told, well, how to live with this thing. Well, what does that mean? And how do we do it? And are we ready to doing it? And give us an example. We're told of a story of a particular employee, who because of colleagues had to quarantine and spent the requisite period, the 14 days or whatever it was in that time, returns to work, and then in short order, someone in the household is impacted, and that same employee has to return into quarantine again, and another 14 days. So within the span of a month and better, this person is sort of confined away from social interaction, the lost productivity, potentially the lost pay, the inability to contribute to the team and to serve the customers. Now, that's not healthy, not sustainable for that person, for that household, for the financial sort of capacity to sustain that. We're thankful that our governments, the last and this one, seemingly recognizing the potential financial implications, and we're just told, have now voted another $1 million to assist. We are just the other day had the opportunity to speak to Ms. Gupta from Resilience, saying today is the first of the month, and there'll be applications now open for people to apply for some sort of assistance for food vouchers and rent subsidy and payment with utilities on a month-by-month basis. They were given a $500,000, and as it comes to charitable contributions, that is a very significant sum. Whether it's the million or the tens of millions that a government will pay and help to manage this affair and to assist people in a financial way, we're seeing that at some point in time there's a significant cost. The financial cost, the monies that may have to be borrowed, or monies that are taken from one particular area and reallocated to another. But then there's social costs, there's the personal costs. So what do we do, and how do we go about doing it? That's a question that I think shouldn't be openly dismissed, nor quickly decided, nor or whatever the decision, the consequence, one is taken lightly, because surely we should be able to ensure that healthy people can move about. Surely we move about in a safe, sensible way. Surely we don't need armed patrol, whether it's a military regiment, a police, or some other uniform body, or even citizens taking up the practice that we would have read about in history, that we saw in the communist bloc countries, as reported in the Western media, or where citizens are spying on citizens. Maybe there's a sense and a semblance of sensitivity and respect that treats all and sundry in the most generous, courteous, civil manner. Maybe the examples of the Nordic countries could be some that we borrow. Perhaps there are the practices in South America that we could look at. Well, what is your thoughts? What are your thoughts? 949-8037. Toll free with the compliments of Flow. 1-800-534-8255. Or WhatsApp 925-3261. And share your thoughts with us as we invite you to be a part of our discussion. Without question, there are going to be a lot of things that are decided, a lot of things that are ignored, and a lot of things that history is going to find us wanting when we look back. It said the hindsight is 2020. Well, hope it's not, because some have joked in jest. Someone from the future will come back and say, you know what? That's what that means now. It was 2020. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. Flow toll-free call. Or WhatsApp 925-3261. Now, as we go about our lives, and as we're looking at the potential legacy, as we understand the consequences for our children as they come into their own, as we ourselves, God's willing, age. What is our society looking like? We're in the midst of our census. The enumerators are out and about. Some, have been very cautiously and lovingly invited into our spaces. Some, the interviewer as well as the, interviewed, have opted to let's stay out in the cool breeze, if you don't mind. No mosquitoes bothering anybody, and let's answer the questions there. Let's go to the phones. Welcome, good afternoon. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Sterling.
Good afternoon. How are you today?
On the grass here, beautiful rain, beautiful shower. But you need to come to the office a little bit and come enjoy some days.
Man, now you sound like you in the best place, man. Good to hear from you, man.
Yeah, man, you too. Sitting there, you don't sound too energetic this morning. They don't seem like much callers calling in. I guess they all drain us from this COVID news. They get traveling all over the place, I guess. Huh?
Yeah, but I think it says a lot too. A lot of people are, I think for the most part, paying attention to things, and they are trying hard to perhaps understand, a perspective and then engage others. So we'll see how it goes, man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. But there's so much different scenarios that we can address with this COVID issue, especially here on the Brac. All of a sudden, we got community spread just rapidly just taken over suddenly, and I call it a lack of just carelessness, recklessness is what I place it as, because when we have these things that as such is that we have to be so careful about, it seems like people are forgetting. I mean, I could maybe misquoting that in a wrong way, but clearly you can see it. Some people are very complacent with the way they conduct themselves throughout their work, their everyday living in the stores. You see a lot of people just walking in, no mask, and pretending, because they say they have this mentality of, oh, I'm vaccinated, I don't need to have on a mask when I go here or there. But the thing about it is, vaccinated people are still being infectious with this disease throughout the world. There are the possibilities of those same ones that are vaccinated. The possibilities are very high that they are the ones that can spread it just as clear as someone that isn't. Because when you are vaccinated with these things, you get reckless and you're not realizing that you have something that's in more or less immune in your system to fight off something. But you still have it there somewhere in your system and spreading it to others. And clearly now you can see it here on the back. I mean, people are scared. I mean, take it for what is. I think it was just a matter of time before this thing either exploded on all three islands, if you ask me, because I listen time after time and hear people trying to plead with other people to keep themselves sanitized, keep themselves distanced. And a lot of time you see people, they forget about the distancing. Some people, like I said, wear masks. A lot of people don't. A lot of people forget totally about the distancing of one another. That is very crucial and critical in the times like this. Right.
Well, I think that is what you're sharing, right? And I wonder, how much of the fear that we're having is something that is driving all of this. And as you imply, could it be that people who have taken the injection, the vaccine they call it, gain a false sense of security? Are they feeling a bit complacent? Inadvertently, so you think that they're immune, or is it that the testing regime, has been alleged, whether it's the lateral flow or the PCR, that they're really not reliable? I mean, who knows anymore?
That's the thing. That's the thing. I mean, we're basically sitting on a time bomb, because we do not know the good or the bad of what we are doing.
Well, time will tell, huh?
Time will tell. That's exactly what I keep saying. Time will tell. And the thing about it is, time is getting serious, if you ask me, because this is not going to go away. As our leaders and our people throughout our islands are talking about, this is going to go away. They said the same thing about polio. Yeah. They said the same thing about polio. And polio lasts for from what, down to 70s?
But the thing is, right, I mean, as you say that now, we are being told by all of the people that seem to act as if they don't know what's in sense. You got to learn to live with this thing now, right?
I mean, how can people of our stature, we are Caymanians, we are proven to be smart, intelligent people. How can we use such a term as we got to live with something such as this?
But I mean, when I say that, I'm repeating the global officials now who are talking about the stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we are willing to ignore people who are starving to death, people who are sold into sex trafficking, who are being kidnapped and abused all left, right, and center. Police and authorities going into the streets and killing people for so. I mean, we got all kind of stuff going on in the world, but nobody seems to have any issue with turning a blind eye to it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, you got somebody come into an organization and they say, boy, it was rough last night, the little child had this and that. Boy, I don't know if I got enough money this month to pay the bills, but they were at work. We don't care about them, boy. You make your bed, you line it. But you see people divided now because some took an injection, some didn't for whatever reason. Yeah. And so
I mean, I hear what you're saying, and I feel people thought, but I can remember when Trump was president, first going off, and COVID came out. Yeah. And I mean, I'm from the Brock, and I'm from the Cayman Islands, but I'm from Grand Cayman. But I'm telling you the honest truth. I would support Trump any day out in a United States president, unless Reagan was to return. But what I'm saying was,
even Clinton?
No. I was
sure?
For his wife. I was for his wife, man, not for him.
Oh man, that's a good game.
But what I was saying was, I remember Trump passed I would say a malicious, nasty comment of when COVID came out, because remember now, Trump was trying to prove to the world that nothing was not such, nothing. It was no such thing as COVID, and it couldn't affect no one, not even him. And he passed a remark such as this. He said, someone got to die. That's the remark he passed. Somebody got to die, no matter what. He said, forget about COVID. Somebody got to die. I mean, we today, if you ask me, our people is getting that same mentality. If we slowly listen to how people speak, they're talking the same way, even though they're not verbally saying what I just said that Trump said. But in a sense, they're saying basically the same thing, that we got to die. Yes, we understand we got to die. My father always had a saying, everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. And the thing about it is, instead of earth peoples, they're claiming we are so intelligent in every factor of this life. Try to realize, instead of they save themselves for another day, we don't know what tomorrow holds. Nobody knows what tomorrow holds. Instead of we try to keep ourselves prepared, we protected for another day. They go and put themselves in harm's way every weekend, doing whatever they're doing, and then they're gathering wherever they're gathering. I'm not against no bars, I'm not against no church. But instead of they remember that we're still in a crisis problem, and try to conduct themselves and carry themselves in a proper manner, and remember to keep themselves, especially keep themselves distance between one another. These things we can maybe say we come to a point to probably see different change in something resolving.
Right.
But until that day, we ain't going to see no change. We're not going to see no change in this.
Okay. Well, you know what?
Well,
let's keep the dialogue open, man. Let's keep the lines of discussion, and let's be respectful of each other's perspective, you know.
That's right.
And try to find ways to bring ourselves together. Hey, thank you very much, my friend.
Thanks,
right? You're welcome. All right, got to take a quick break. The calls are rolling in, but if you forgive us, let us pause and then join you right after.
We may be in Christmas shopping mode, but 'tis the flu season too. Savannah Pharmacy has immune system boosters for the entire family with a range of vitamins and supplements. Their knowledgeable and courteous pharmacists are always available to offer the best advice and products. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
Explore your history. Explore your land. Explore your sister islands. The ultimate staycation experience. Your culture, your freedom. The land that time forgot isn't gone. It's your sister islands.
Discover all that our sister islands have to offer.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Come on, Cayman. Let's get ready to reopen. Countries all over the world are proving life can go on and we can safely coexist with COVID-19 in our community. With open borders, our readiness will be vital to protect each other and our islands. We can do this. Have your voice heard and pledge you are ready to safely reopen. Visit reopencayman.com. Join the movement and pledge that you are ready to reopen on November 20.
Your Radio Cayman 6 p.m. news, Monday through Friday, is brought to you by Logic. Your life connected.
Talk today.
But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon. Welcome back, and thanks so much for joining us. And to the callers, we do respect and recognize that sometimes, when you call, it's because that's the moment that you have available. So we thank you. And if you would also be as, cognizant of our appreciation for the men and advertisers who know that if they want to reach the wide audience, the widest possible, advertisement Radio Cayman gives them that in confidence. So we balance the two, and sometimes the callers aren't able to stay as long as we would like or as they would want. So the lines are now open, and if you want to call and share your thoughts, well, as we go into the last 5 minutes of today's program, still time to hear your thoughts, read the voice what you're thinking. 949-8037, 1-800-534-8255, WhatsApp 925-3261 if you want to share your thoughts with us. But like that last caller just shared, is it a growing affair amongst people? Is there growing frustrations? And as we go now to opening back up, will it be people moving and going and coming? What is their perception and the perspective? Well, we'll soon see. Hey, good afternoon and welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Sterling. I'll take advantage of the next 5 minutes.
How are you?
Good. Yeah, about the COVID. You know, I'm sitting down and I'm thinking, why are we not hearing from the government an update or anything else? I mean, there's lots going on. We're on the island and we all know. We need to know exactly what is happening. There are schools that have kids have been tested positive. parents have to stay home and take care of them. And it's, we don't know really. They need to come out and give us an update on what their plans are. There are no makeshift hospitals. This is just the beginning of what we're going to see. And I hope and pray that no one on this island or islands don't die from this.
Mm-hmm. Amen. Mm-hmm.
We need to know exactly what is going on. There are people that are testing positive at home, and they're not saying they're positive. They're going out to work because they need an income, and this is why this thing is spreading so fast. We definitely have to get a grip on this thing now, because in the end, it's going to get really out of hand. And I hope and pray that whoever is in charge of the health will come out and give us an update on what is going on and what is their plan. I don't even know if the hospital in Cayman Brac has any, nebulizers and whatever, so that these people can have their older people there. And we would like to know what is really going on. We don't know how many really have it in the Brac, and we know Little Cayman has it. We're not able, we have one hospital, and I'm not sure if that hospital will be able to help when it gets really bad. So we need to definitely, are we waiting to hear an update from the Minister of Health? We definitely need to know what is going on. We hope and pray that we don't have to open up the makeshift hospital, but they need to start doing something in case that we have to.
Yeah.
So we have to plan ahead of time.
Make provision.
We can't wait till everybody's getting sick. I mean, it was over like 500 on the weekend. It's probably like 700 between now and, people are testing positive, and they have no way. They're walking around the community. No one knows that they have this thing or not. I mean, it's like a wildfire flying all over the place. We need to know what is going on. We have elderly people. We have kids. We need to definitely know what their plans are. So I am just appealing for someone from the Ministry of Health to come and give us an update or have a briefing. Cayman Brac had so many cases on Friday on the weekend. We have not had an update as what is going on. We need to know.
Yeah, it certainly is a very emotive thing. It has created a lot of concern, fear. Hopefully we're not panicking, but I can understand how people are feeling. The question sometimes to be asked, though, if we think of the scenario that employers and employees are facing, people take a test, and now that they can self-test, only repeating to you what has been repeated to me by people that I think are much more knowledgeable than expertise that I would rely on because of the healthcare sector in which they sort of have dabbled or still work. And they're saying, well, is it reliable the way we're doing things? An employee goes into work with a positive test but no symptoms. Is that because there's a fear of the job? The employee who stays away because they think that's the right responsible thing to do is fearful that they're going to remain unemployed because the employer can't or won't extend any sort of concession. We have some serious concerns that people are probably trying to weigh as to what is the best outcome, and maybe the only person that they're thinking about is themselves.
Yeah, but that's exactly what we need to know, because if I test positive, I wouldn't want to go to work and, let people know that I'm positive. I would just continue my work. And this is where I see that it's going to spread, because there's a lot of people that are testing positive and are moving around the community. And it's not right for them to do it. And they know they have it, but yet they're doing it. This is why it's going to spread, and it's spreading much faster than they intended to. And we need to have an update from the Minister of Health saying what to expect and what to do. I don't think even these people are tagged. So we don't know, we can't say, well, this one has it or that one have it. And kids are in school. The parents have to stay home if the child is exposed to it.
Right.
They have to stay home and take care of the children. They don't have no other choice.
Right.
And about calling hotline at hospital, that's a no-no. You never get through. So, what can they do? They just have to stay home and try to maintain their children.
Right. Well, this is, I think, part of that emerging question or growing body of questions from what you just shared. A couple of things already. we're being told globally, okay, time to live with this thing now. We got to get used to it. We got to live with it. This is eventually the expectation will become like the cold. I don't like to call it the common cold because they seem to make that even sound dismissive. That can affect people in a negative way as well. But if you now go into this space and let's say the person is at home, a question that's been reminded us of here, they're positive. When they're going to clean their homes, is that the same cleaning that they would do ordinarily? Is this, the big production we're seeing in organizations now? They're shutting everything down and they're coming in in hazmat suits and foggers and look like some Hollywood production. Yeah, how do we clean and sanitize our homes? I have to wonder sometimes. Honest to God, I have to wonder.
Yeah, we do have to wonder, and I tell you what, it's only that good one about. Mm-hmm. As I said a few months back on the talk show, we all have to get down and have a revival, because I tell you what, if they don't believe in God and pray in this time, I don't know what is going to bring us through, because it's a hard time here ahead, and people don't see it. They're just, we have to live with it. We have to live with it, but they got to get real.
Yeah, I appreciate you saying that publicly, because honestly, that is the one thing that has personally been weighing on me. What potentially may lie ahead for all of us, especially in the Cayman Islands. This is where we live and lay our heads and probably want to, remain after we have departed this physical realm. But are we honestly respectful and responsible enough to come together as a people to try to work together? Because potentially there could be some very hard times ahead, as you share.
There are going to be harder times ahead. I don't know if they know it or not, but I've been here now 60-odd years plus, and I can tell you one thing. I see it coming. I can see it coming. I can feel it too.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It is quite evident. The writing is on the wall. The problem is people believe they can buy their way into heaven, so they can buy their way out, spend their way out of this. I don't know, boy. I don't know.
I don't think it's only one way into heaven. I can tell them what. They don't care how much money they have. They won't pay their way there, so they better get a hold of it quick and see what they can do. Mm-hmm. Anyway, you have a wonderful November, and God bless.
Amen, Mom. And to you too. God bless, and thank you for sharing that thought with us, all right?
Thank you.
All
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. I like so many in our society, that lady, if she would let me say, that young in heart, certainly young spirited lady, reminds us. All right. DJ Lynn is on the other side, so he said we got 2 final calls. Let's go to it. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for calling.
Good afternoon, Mr. Dwayne Stewart. Oh, sorry. Sterling Dwayne.
How are you?
Thanks.
What's happening, man?
I'm good.
All right.
A couple of things to say, but I noticed that you're running over time, so I'm going to cut it short and have a call back another time. Along some of the same lines that the last caller was just talking about, with some persons who have contracted COVID and are now moving around in society, knowing they have it, but they still don't care about other people catching it from them. Okay. I'm a firm believer that there should be some quote-unquote website, some government control information center where all persons who have been positive, their names and pictures are posted there.
Okay.
So we as members of the public know who these persons are. I could be mistaken, but I think in a very recent past, there was a report that with 52 breaches of quarantine. That is people running around in our society, and we didn't know. They didn't seem to care about that. Your privacy. A few days ago, maybe a week, 2 weeks, I read in one of the local newspapers where some male was accused of, I think, molesting a child. He was only accused, but his photograph and name was posted in a newspaper. What about his privacy, his data protection? He was only accused. Now this is someone who knows that they have COVID, and they're saying we can't publish their name or pictures because it will violate their quote-unquote human rights. What about ours?
Okay. It's, yeah, I'll listen.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Good.
That, and so that's my position.
Mm-hmm.
That the names and photos of persons who have contracted COVID should be published in some format where the public can go and access that information.
Mm-hmm.
The next thing is words matter. I think I've mentioned it before, but and I don't think he'll mind me calling his name because I think everybody knows by his voice. He comes on Mr. Michael Hurlston. I'm talking about our passports, the property of the crown. When you go and say, look at that, citizenship, BOTC, British Overseas Territorial Citizen. It doesn't say Caymanian. But we hear a lot of current, past, probably future, we still hear it as well. Talk about this country. In what context are we a country? We don't have our own passport. We don't have a thing legally as a Caymanian. But we have this quote-unquote Cayman country. We have to have someone from a foreign country sign our laws. No disrespect to the current, past, or future governors, but they have to sign our laws on behalf of the Crown in order for them to become a legally binding document. Have somewhat a bit of control over our spending. I mean, I could name a number of more examples as to why we should not be going around talking about, this great country of Cayman. We are a British overseas territory.
Yeah. Well,
we don't have no seat at the United Nations. We don't have no seat at CARICOM. We are an associate member, but because we're not a political unit, an independent political unit, I know we can discuss that too.
Yeah.
But for what it is, as it is, we're not recognized as quote unquote a country.
Well, that's it. Yep. And these are discussions that we talk about nation building, and we want to move forward, and we have to ask: is there, whether sinister or whether it's just inadvertent? Is there an element of social engineering taking place?
Yes, and I mean, sometimes, in my opinion, that is necessary. We have physical engineering, we have mechanical engineering, medical engineering. So why can't we have some social engineering?
Well,
I know, but that's where my hate space is at.
Yeah, man.
Reopening of the borders. I was all in favor of it up until it was September 6th, and we had one of the school children, was the first who have never sort of been known as having COVID. And where are we today? So I don't think we're going to have the capacity to take care of a significant increase in COVID cases. If we ever go there, I hope we don't. But I don't think we'll be able to sustain it. And as we open, we're going to be like other jurisdictions who tried it and going to probably have to close down. I said there are a couple of other things I wanted to talk about, but I still going to be going past time. So thanks for the opportunity.
All right, you make the note, man, and we'll make it happen. All right.
Okay, sir.
All right, long overdue. Enjoy the rain and talk to you soon, huh? All right, one final call, D. All right, welcome and thank you for calling. You'll be our last caller today. Thank you. Hello, good afternoon.
Yes. Good afternoon.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, fine, thank you. Am I in the air?
You are indeed, yes.
No, I was just wondering, I was listening to some of the callers who were saying that there are individuals who are going into work after testing positive using the lateral flow test. And I was wondering if it couldn't be a system. I mean, some people can be trusted. I do really believe that most people are honest, but I also know that, each individual has their own breaking point. So if there's a way where they would allow the testing to happen at the workplace instead of at the home.
But again, why? I mean, are we not, to your first point, we are trusting the people, but surely we must get to a space where we are responsible, respectful, respectable people with a sense of integrity. Because if we can't trust people, wow.
That's when all things are perfect. But, we live in a world where not everybody is honest. And some people, they're looking at, they need the money. And they're thinking that, I can go. It's not going to kill it. It's not going to kill them. They're coming to all different sort of excuses as to why it's okay.
I mean, so, we know people. Sorry, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, we can't really control what people do. But if we can try and limit that from happening, if it was taking place, like I was watching this video, and what the video was done as it was done from a school, and you had the teacher or the administrator was right in front, and each student was doing the test themselves. So if it would be a situation where I understand you don't want to come to the workplace and contaminate people, get the chance of contaminating people again, but if we can.
Right, but let's ask the question. I mean, your point, is evident, but I think we need to get to a place where we become a little bit more sensible than that, right? But let's take two things.
That's the whole.
Let's look at where employers and employees alike, but employers would say, if you're not at work, you're not getting paid, and employees would say, I'm really sick, Bob, I want a day off. Now we need to find a way that we move beyond that so that we become a little more sensible and a little bit more responsible. But if it's possible, and seemingly it was for some, and it still is, but because of the employer's demands, we're not allowing people to be able to work from a space outside of the office where they were. People were working from home before. Could they not continue to do so if they want to now, as long as the job is done? We really got to rethink this whole thing and wonder what is driving this whole process.
Yeah, there's certainly a lot of loose ends and improvements to be done, for sure.
Is it loose ends or just outright deliberate lies?
Oh, I'm just talking the overall handling of the whole COVID situation.
Well,
we don't have it all right yet.
Yeah.
So we're trying. We are not as advanced or ahead of the game like other nations are, because we not now begin the process of trying to reopen and trying to quote unquote live with the existence of COVID. So we haven't gotten everything right yet. So that's what I mean by there are things that need to be.
No, fair enough. That's understandable. But when we hear some people who seemingly, at other times we believe that they were credible and competent, and they say, well, we question whether the PCR test is accurate, in case people didn't see that was not one sentence, or that this, lateral flow test isn't. We heard from one fellow who said, well, we turned up to 40 cycles, whatever it is, so therefore when you put it at that level, it really not worth it. I mean, we got so many people saying so much stuff nowadays that people are just genuinely confused as to, well, what are they saying? You take the CDC.
They're just saying that there's too many cooks in the kitchen and the pot, spoil the pot, right?
Right, but
so
it's also
what people need to do is listen to the government, listen to to people, who know what they're talking about instead of
Well, that's the problem, right?
Hurry.
You look at Dr. Fauci and you look at the CDC in the U.S. and the WHO, and you ask yourself how many times they've had to, sort of rescind what they said earlier. The U.S.
At least they're the one that's telling us, okay, don't do this anymore, do this. It's a trial and error. It's new to everybody, and no one is perfect, and they're trying their best, and we're trying our best here in Cayman as well, and it's going to take a little while, but, people just need to cooperate and do their best.
I think people are cooperating. I think you just got a bunch of people who are despots and who themselves, seem to enjoy the little bit of authority that they get, so they go to their heads. I really don't know, boy. I mean, gone are the days of common sense.
Well, I don't know.
Yep.
I just think that everybody's trying their best.
Yeah, definitely.
And I'm just going to encourage everybody to, support the government and to, help them.
Yep. No, that part we agree on. Let's work together because, we are better if we're working together. Yeah. All right. But thank you for that. Blessings to you.
Gotta go.
Gotta go. Enjoy yourself. And it's a Monday. Started this slow. We picked up fast. Let the pace take you to a place that is positive and productive. As you're pensive, be reflective on what brings us together. Let us not be divided by our differences, but be united because we serve the one living true Almighty. Tomorrow's another day. We invite you to be a part of it. God's willing, you'll be with us for Talk Today right after the midday news and midday meditation. Until then, be blessed.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. Stay clean, stay safe, hey man. Reflection sells gallons of sanitizer for only $25. Buy 2 clip-on sanitizers for just $5. Reflections has the best KN95 masks or reusable cloth masks, and you can get 2 for only $5. Blue surgical masks and face shields are available for children and adults, as well as 10 and 50 packs of black surgical masks. Volume discounts available at Reflections, Jose's Rubus, Reflections Hemp and Tobacco, all 5 Liquor for Less locations, and Food for Less, open 24 hours every day. Don't miss the Liquor for Less incredible priced better markdown. Hundreds of fine from $2.99. Cases of ice cold below wholesale prices. Save $10 off liters of absolute exclusively at Liquor for Less. Prices so low we can't say them on the radio.
The Rotary Central Music Extravaganza 2021 tickets are here. Get your $25 ticket and stand a chance to win the grand prize of $40,000, second prize $4,000, and 6 $1,000 prizes. The Music Extravaganza music event, Saturday, November 27th at Salty's Grand Harbor, featuring CNB, Deja Blue, The Fabulous 68s. Tickets now on sale by Rotary members, authorized ticket sellers, and at eventpro.ky. 26 years of Rotary Music Extravaganza, funding over 70 community projects of significance since 1995. Rotary Central, Cayman Islands. Registered not-for-profit number 232. Rotary Central. Serve to change lives.
If you or someone in your household is a primary contact to someone who has tested positive for COVID-19, you could be required to isolate at a moment's notice.
Be prepared. Ensure that you have stocked enough food, water, prescriptions, and sanitary items to last for 14 days.
Have a plan if living arrangements require adjustments. And remember that all deliveries must be contactless.
For any queries, contact the 24-hour flu hotline 947 877-3077 or email flu@hsa.ky. For more tips, visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.